This conference will now be recorded.
Well, in the last class, we discussed about expression transformation, right? So expression transformation mainly we use to implement the SQL functions or any other functions. Any other means in Informatica we have few inbuilt functions like IAF function, that is not a SQL function, that is Informatica function. Such type of functions if we have also, we can create expression transformation. And to hard code the values also we use expression transformation. Hard coding values means like in the last class we have seen hard coding the date. So to hard code the date, we have used to underscore date function. Okay, so inside the date we have written the hard coded date. Means hard coded means whatever the date here we have specified, same as it is going to be loaded into the target table. That is the reason we call this as a hard coded date. Okay, and then hard coded string, hard coded number. So all these things we have seen how to do that. Okay, so these three also very important. In real time, many of the scenarios we will hard code the dates, strings, and numbers inside the expression transformation. Okay, so hard coding means whatever the value or a string or a date they have given, same as it is we have to write inside the expression transformation, that is called hard coded. And then to do calculations, so we can also do the calculations. So like that, here we have done some calculation to check if the salary is less than or equal to 200. If yes, then add 100, else will return the same salary. Like that we have used a function, right? So this is what we discussed in the last class. Today we will start with another new transformation which is called filter transformation. Okay, so next we have filter transformation. What is filter transformation? In the name itself, we have a meaning called filter. So to filter the data or to filter the source rows, we use filter transformation. To filter the data, inside the filter transformation, we have to write a condition. Okay, so what we write inside the filter? We write a condition. Remember, whenever we can say or we have a requirement to write the function, then you have to create expression. Condition means filter. Okay, what is the difference between expression and filter? Expression is for to write the functions. Filter is for to write the condition. Like that, you have to remember. Okay, so condition means immediately you have to say yes, in our mapping we have to create a filter transformation to write the condition. So if you write a condition inside the filter transformation, it will filter the source data. For example, here we have a source table EMPFLDS1. So this is our first scenario in filter transformation. In this source table, if you observe, we have there are 5 rows. Out of 5 rows, there are different department number records are there. Department number 10, 20, 30, 10, 20, like that. We have different department number records are there. While loading the data from source to target table, we don't want to load all the records. We want to load only department number is equal to 10 records. So out of 5 records, how many records are belongs to department number 10? So we have only 2 records, first record and the fourth record. So only those 2 records are belongs to the 10 department. So as per the requirement, we want to load only those 2 records into the target table. So here DNO is equals to 10. This is a condition. This is not a function. We call what we call DNO equal to 10. This is a condition, right? Since we have a condition here, we can create a filter transformation in our mapping. Inside the filter transformation, we can write a condition. So filter transformation, it will check whatever the records it is going to receive. It will check the condition. If the condition is true, then it will pass that record to the target. If the condition is false, then it filter transformation, it will just leave that record as it is. It will not do anything for that record. That's how filter transformation works. Now we'll see practically. So here I have already created a table for the filter transformation. While practicing, you have to create a table. Select star from emp fld underscore s1. So like that, you can create a table. it is from EMPFLTS1. This is our source table. Okay, so here we have different department records are there 10, 20, 30. So same way you have to insert few records in our source table and then T1 a target table. First target table, you can create a target table with this name. FLT means filter. So here we do not have any records. With this, our source and target tables are ready. So we have created the source table and we have inserted the records inside the source table. And then, as I told you earlier also, after inserting the records, you have to execute the commit. So if you execute the commit, then only the data will save permanently. So if you don't execute the commit, data won't save and you will get zero records in your target table. Fine. So once source and target tables are created, now we have to perform those 6 steps. The first step, we have to import the source definition, go to the menu, sources, import from database, right? So we have to enter the username, password, connect. Is connected, and here we'll get the system tables. FLTS1, we have to select and click on OK, and then clear all. Go to the menu, targets, import from database. Our target table is this. We can copy from here. Control C, Control V. Shortcuts you have to use so that it will be faster. Like that, we have to select the target table. Click on OK. Then go to the mappings. Mappings. Create M underscore EMP underscore FLT S1 T1 loop. First letter should be small letter and rest of the letters capital letters. Then open the sources folder. So we have to select our source definition, drag and drop to the mapping designer buckets, select the target definition EMPFLTT1, drag and drop the target definition, right? So here we know we have to filter the source data. So for that we have a condition. To write a condition, we know there is a filter transformation. So to create a filter transformation here, go to the menu transformation, create. From this list, we have to select the filter transformation. You can see here we have a filter. So like that, we have to select the filter. Here we have to give the name as FLT. That is the naming convention. Create, done. So filter transformation has created. And then select all these ports from the source qualifier. Drag and drop to the filter transformation. And from filter, select all the ports and then drag and drop to the target definition. That's it. With this, we have done with the mapping, but still we have not written a condition. So for that, open the filter transformation, right click, edit, or you can double click. Okay, go to the properties tab, and here we have filter condition. So here we have to write a condition, right? So filter condition we have to write here as, okay. So DNO, right? We have department number under ports tab. We have DNO. So DNO is equals to 10, right? So we want to write only condition here. So we no need to write the entire SQL query. You just have to write a condition, filter condition. You have to write here like this. DNO is equals to 10. Okay. So that's how we have to write a filter condition here and then validate. We can see expression password successfully. Then click on OK. So like that, we have to write a filter condition here inside the filter transformation and then apply. Okay, that's it. Save. So we just have to write a condition inside the filter transformation. Okay, so assume with this we have created mapping session workflow, everything, and we have started execution. As soon as we start execute, reader from the source table, it will read the first record and it will send to the filter transformation. First record here we have one Ali 10. So one Ali 10 from the source qualifier, it will pass to the filter transformation. Filter transformation will check the condition for first record, what is the department number which it has received. Now tell me, For the first record, whether the condition is true or false, what filter transformation will do? Will it pass that record to the target, or it will leave that record as it is? Is this condition
It
true or
pass the
false?
record.
Right, it will pass the record. Since the condition is true, it will pass the record to the target. And next, after passing the record to the target, next reader will read the second record to Ravi 20. So after loading the first record only, it will start processing the second record. Okay, at a time, it will not pass all the records to the filter. Informatica will process the records row by row. First, it will process the first row, and then after loading the first record into the target, next it will start processing the second row. Like that, one after the other, it will pass the records through the transformations. Okay, so now first record it has sent it to the target. Now reader has read the second record from the source. Second record we have 2 Ravi 20, that it will pass to the filter. Filter will check the condition for the second record. So second record condition is true or false? False, right? So because inside the filter transformation we have written a condition as 10, whereas for the second record we have department number as 20. That is the reason condition false. Since the condition false, filter transformation, it will just leave that record as it is. It will not do anything for that record. Next, it will source reader will read the third record. Okay, so next it will read the third record. So reader, it will pass that third record to the filter transformation. So again, for the third record also condition is not going to satisfy. Third record also, it will just leave that record as it is. Okay, and then fourth record, reader will read the fourth record. A fourth record will pass to the filter transformation. Now for the fourth record, we have department number 10. Yes, condition is true for the fourth record. Now fourth record filter will pass that record to the target. Now for the last record, we have 20. So 20 is going to be false because inside the filter we have DNO is equal to 10. Condition false, it will not pass that record to the target, it will just leave that record as it is. Like that, filter transformation, row by row it will receive, and for whichever the record the condition is true, then it will pass that record to the target, or if after filter, if there is any transformation, it will pass that record to the next transformation. Okay, so if the condition doesn't satisfy, filter transformation will just leave that record as it is. It is not going to do anything for that record. Done. Now with this we have created mapping. For this mapping, we will create a session task workflow, and then we will execute and see the output. So this is our session task FLT. Same. Now it is ready to execute. As soon as I click on start workflow, it will start execute. And here to see the output, see here we have a workflow and the session. Okay, so you have right click on workflow and you try to get run properties. Here you will not get the source and target stat, right? You should not right click on the workflow. Okay, you should have to right click on the session task, right click on session task, get run properties. Then only you will get this task details, source and target statistics and all. Okay, you should not right click. So if you are seeing only workflow like this, okay, so if you are seeing only workflow, you have to double click on it so that it will open. Under that workflow, you can see the session task. Now on top of the session task, you have to right click get on properties so that you can see the source and target statistics, how many records has read from the source and how many records loaded into the target. Now you can see reader has read 5 records it is sending to the filter transformation. Filter transformation condition has satisfied for only 2 records only it has passed to the next transformation. Okay, now if you see the data in the target table, you can see we have only department number 10 records. Got it? That's how filter transformation works. So if you want to filter the source data, we can create a filter transformation. There filter, we can write a condition. Okay, so if the condition is true, then it will pass that record. If the condition is false, it will just leave that record as it is. Clear? Any questions here? Okay, fine. Next. Okay, so another scenario. Now here, second scenario, EMPFLTS2. So in this scenario, we have one source table and two target tables are there. Till now, till now, whatever the scenarios we have created, one source table, one target table. Now from this, now here we have a scenario, one source table, two target tables are there. So EMPFLTT21 and EMPFLTT22, like that you have to create two target tables with the same columns. Now the requirement here is while loading the data from one source to two target tables, all the department number 10 records we have to load into the first target table, all the department number 20 records we have to load into the second target table. That's the requirement. Okay, so for this scenario, we have to create one source table, insert few records in the source table, commit, and then create two target tables and do not insert any records. So we should have to create the rules like this. This is S2, which is your total 10, 20, 30, and for one record you insert the null value also, right? So without having the department number, you just try to insert. So to insert the null value, you have to write a query like this: insert into table name, right? Which is our table EMPFLTS2ES values. Okay, so employee number like 7 and employee name, some employee name. Okay, and then you have to write up. So here you no need to pass any value. Simply if you execute this insert statement, or we can value. So here let me remove the comma. So I have removed the comma. I am passing values for only two columns. Like this you can execute. Still it is not taking. So what you can do, so if you are passing only two values, here you have to specify the column names, or you can just write null. Null means empty, nothing, right? So like that you can write. So null value will be inserted. Let me execute. So you can see one row inserted. And here in your source table, you will get for the last record null means empty, blank. So you can see null value. So like that, for one record, there is no department number null. Okay. So like that you can insert. Fine. So like that you insert some few records in the source table. So after that, you have to create a target table like this. This is our source table. Next, the target table is how many target tables you have to create? Two target tables. One is T2 underscore 1 with the same columns you create a target table. Okay, and zero records here. You know how to create a table with this name, right? So you have to create one more target table. This is our second target table. So like that T2 underscore 2, you have to create another target table. Okay, so total three tables you have to create for this scenario: one source table and two target tables. Source table should have the data like this, and target table we should not have any data. So by loading the data from source to target table, we have to load all the 10 department records into the first target table, and all the 20 department records you have to load into the second target table. That's the requirement. Got it? 10 into one target, 20 into one target. Now tell me how many conditions are there here? How many conditions we have?
Two conditions.
So we have two conditions, right? Okay, so in the previous scenario, we had only one condition, which is department number is equal to 10. Now we have two conditions. One is DNO is equal to 10 is one condition. Another condition is DNO 20. So here inside the filter transformation, if there are two conditions, how do we write two conditions here? Go to the properties. So previously we have written DNO equal to 10. Now I have one more condition to write. So if I want to write one more condition, do we have any property or any option here to write one more condition in this filter? Are you able to see? Do we have any button to add one more condition to this filter? No. So here you can write a single condition. So filter condition means, so here in this place you can write a single condition. You cannot write multiple conditions here. So remember, one filter transformation allows to write only one condition. We cannot write two conditions in one filter transformation, or we cannot write multiple conditions inside the filter transformation. So always filter transformation allows to write only one condition. Now in our second scenario, we have two conditions to write. So if there are two conditions, how do we write those two conditions inside the filter transformation? Means we have to create two filter transformations. Okay. So to write two conditions, we have to create two filter transformations. Okay. So we'll see how to create. So first, once the source and target tables are ready, we will import the source definition and target definition. So how many target definitions we have to import here for this scenario?
Target.
So we have to import two target definitions. So one source definition we have imported, then clear all. Now go to the here, copy the first target table, go to the menu targets, import from database, control V, paste. So first target definition I am importing, connect. Imported the first target definition. Now again, I'm going to import the second target definition. Go to the menu targets. You no need to clear. You can just keep the first target definition. Now import the second target definition like this. Click on OK. Okay, now you can see we have got two target definitions. Right? Now we'll create a mapping. Okay. Go to the mappings, create m underscore emp flt s2 t2 load. Right, so we can give the mapping name like this and then click on OK. So flts2, this is our source definition, and target, we have two targets. So drag and drop the first target definition and drag and drop the second target definition. Done till here, so we have drag and drop the two target definition and we have one source here. Got it? So since we have two conditions to write, we know we cannot write two conditions in one filter transformation. That is the reason we are going to create two filter transformations here. Go to the menu transformation, create, and from this list we'll set the filter transformation. Okay, so we'll give the name as FLD1. This is the first filter. Create, done. So we have created the first filter transformation. In the same way, to write another condition, we have to create another filter transformation, FLD2. This is the second filter transformation, create, done. So after creating the second filter, we should have to keep like this. We are not writing any code in any program here, right? So all these, how you want to know what transformations we have to create, how do we have to create, what properties we have to set, all those things you should know. Okay, fine. After creating these two filter transformations, so you have to select the ports and drag and drop to the first filter. In the same way, parallelly drag and drop to the second filter also. This is how you have to connect. Now, is this one to many or many to one? Which type of link is this from source to the filters?
One to many.
One to many. Which is valid and which is not valid?
Many to one is invalid, one to many is valid.
Correct, right? In the last class we discussed, we should not forget, many to one is invalid. So we cannot give the link multiple ports to a single port. Okay, so we can give the link from one port to multiple ports. So here we have connected one to many. Got it? Okay, so one to many is valid. Right? Many to one we cannot connect, but one to many is valid. Got it? Okay, now like this we can connect. This is called one to many. Remember, one port to multiple ports we have connected. That is the reason we called it as a one to many is valid. One port to multiple ports we can connect, but multiple ports to a single port we cannot connect. In the last class I have shown you. Okay, so we have to select all these ports and connect it to the target definition, and select all the ports connected to the second target definition. Now open the first filter, edit, go to the properties. Here we have to write a property dno is equal to 10, right? So second condition, where do we have to write? We have to write in a second filter. Open the second filter, go to the properties. Here you have to write the second condition. dno is equal to 20, like this. Apply. Okay, that's it. Save. So control yes. So once this is saved, with this we have done with the map. This is how we can write multiple conditions in a mapping by creating two filter transformations. Okay, fine. We have done with the mapping. Now what we have to do, let's say assume with this we have created mapping session workflow everything and we have started execution. As soon as we start execute, reader from the source, it will read the first record 1 Ali 10. Now tell me 1 Ali 10 from the source qualifier to which filter it will send. Is it going to send it to the first filter or second filter? First record to which filter it will send?
First filter.
Any other answer? You understand the question? So we have done with the mapping. Arjun, we have started execution. As soon as we start execute, it will extract the data from the source first record. Now my question, from the source to which filter it will pass that record?
From both.
Exactly, both the filters, not only the first filter. We have connected parallelly, right? Okay, so by seeing you can easily answer. No need to think of this one, right? So please understand and give the answer if I ask any question so that I'll also know that you are able to follow, right? Okay, so here since we have connected parallelly from the source, it will send to both the filters. Okay, so first filter received 1 Ali 10, second filter also 1 Ali 10. Out of these two filters, now which filter will satisfy the condition for the first record, first filter or second filter?
First filter.
Right, first filter will satisfy the condition. First filter we have connected to the first target table, and the department number 10 record will be loaded into the first target table. Second filter will not satisfy the condition, it will just leave that record as it is. Done. Now the second record. So after processing the first record, next it will select the second record, 2 Ravi 20. So 2 Ravi 20 from the source, it will pass to both the filters. Now for the second record, which filter will satisfy? First filter or second filter?
Second.
So this time second filter will satisfy the condition. First filter, it will just leave that record. Second filter will satisfy. Second filter we have connected to the second target. So that record will load into the second target table. Okay, so and then for the third record, 3 Rajesh 30. So that record it will send to both the filters. Now for that third record, is it going to satisfy any of the filter condition? No, none of the filters are going to satisfy both the filters. If the condition doesn't satisfy both, just leave that record as it is, and then reader will read the fourth record. This will load into the first target, this will load to the second target. How about the null value? Here null means we do not have any department number, just blank. So that 6 John null will pass to both the filters. Now for that record, is it going to satisfy any of the filter condition?
No.
What it is going to do for the null record? What it will do for the null record? Will it pass that record or it will just leave that record?
Just leave.
Right? So it will not pass that record. So null value, it will not satisfy by any of the group, by any of the filter condition. It will just leave, both the filter will leave that record, and we do not have any records to process, and it will display succeed. That's it. Okay, so now for this mapping, we'll create a session workflow and then execute. Save, now execute. So start the workflow. As soon as we click on start the workflow, so from one source, it will read the data. Total 6 records it has read from the source. So only first filter satisfied 2 records, second filter satisfied 2 records, 2 records loaded into the first target, 2 records loaded into the second target. Now first target will have all the department number 10 records. Start execute of the first table. You can see here we have got all the department number 10 records, and the second table we have got all the department number 20 records from the source. Like that, we can send 10 into one target table, 20 into another target table by writing multiple conditions for that. So since we have two conditions, we have created two filter transformations, and they have loaded the data into the corresponding targets. But if the condition doesn't satisfy both the filters, they have just left that record as it is and continued the execution. Okay, fine. Next, we'll move on to the next scenario. So here for two conditions, we have created two filter transformations. If there are 5 conditions, we have to create 5 filter transformation. If there are 50 conditions, we have to create 50 filter transformations. If there are 100 conditions in real time to write, then we have to create 100 filter transformations. So is it suggestible to create those many number of transformations in the mapping? Means no. So we are not going to create hundreds of transformations. More number of transformations mapping will take more time to execute. So we are not going to use those many number of transformations in the mapping. We'll be using less, as much as possible. We have to use less number of transformations. We are not going to create hundreds of transformations. Okay, then what do we have to do? Now I have hundreds of conditions to write, but it is not suggestible to use hundreds of filter transformations in the mapping. If 1 or 2 conditions, fine, we can create like this. If there are 10 conditions or 20 conditions also, you'll have to create 20 filter transformations, which is not suggestible to create many number of transformations. Okay, so to overcome this, we have another transformation called router transformation. Okay, so we have a router transformation. Router transformation, it allows to write multiple conditions. Filter transformation, we can write a single condition, whereas router transformation, we can write multiple conditions. Okay, in one router, you can write n number of conditions. If you have 10 conditions also, in only one router, you can write all the 10 conditions. If you have 100 conditions also, you don't need to create 100 filters. You don't need to create 100 routers. In one router transformation, you can write hundreds of conditions. Okay, and also here in filter transformation, in our source table, we have here department number 30 and the null value. Assume those are the error records. By mistake, someone has inserted the record without a department number, and someone by mistake they have inserted department number 30. They are error records. Okay, so filter transformation, if the condition doesn't satisfy for such type of error records, filter it will just leave that record as it is. It will not do anything for that record. Okay, so here since we have only 5-6 records, by seeing we can easily identify which are the error records we have in our source table, right? Okay, so by seeing we can easily identify. Okay, so for employee number 3 we have 30, and for another employee number 6 we have null. Like that we can easily identify. Whereas in real time you will have millions of records in your source table. So if there are millions of records, how to identify which are the error records we have in our source table? We have only 2 targets. We have to load all the 10 departments into one target, and 20 department records we have to load into another target. Apart from 10 and 20, whatever the department number records are there, all those are the error records or invalid records. So such type of records, I want to know how many error records are there. I want to see what are the error records are there. So in filter transformation, do we have any option to capture such type of error records? Can we load such type of error records in the filter transformation? Do we have any such option inside the filter to track such type of error records? No.
No.
So filter transformation, simply it will just leave that record as it is. It will not do anything for that record. Whereas in router, we do have option to track the error records. If the condition doesn't satisfy, okay, if we can consider those records are error records, and then we can load that error records into another table called log table. We can create another table log. Inside the log table, we can log or we can capture, we can load such type of error records. Okay, so here we have a similar scenario like one source. Now in this mapping we should have three target tables to be created, so you should have to create three target tables. Okay, so inside the source, the same way you should have to create like a 10, 20, and you can insert one null value also here. And while loading the data from source to target, all the 10 departments you have to load into the first target, all the 20 departments load into the second target. Other than 10 and 20, whatever it comes, whether it is a 30 or 40 or null or 100, so you have to consider that as error record and send that error record to the log table. Here we have to capture all the error records. So since we do have option inside the router transformation to track the error records, so those error records we have to load into the log table. Got it? So one source and three target tables you have to create in this scenario. And to write multiple conditions, we have to create a router transformation. Inside the router transformation, we'll create two conditions like DNO 10, DNO 20. These two conditions we will write. But to load the error records, we no need to write any condition. If these two conditions doesn't satisfy, whatever the condition we will be writing DNO 10 and 20, if these two doesn't satisfy, then it will load, it will consider that as error record and it will send that error record to the log table. Okay, we'll see practically how we can use the router transformation where we can write the multiple condition and how to track the error records inside the router, that we will see. So first, what you have to do, you have to create a table, right? Source table or tr underscore s1. So like that, you can create a source table with this name emprtrs1 and then insert few records like this with department number 10, 20, 30, 10, 10, 10, 20 and null value also you can insert here. Okay, and next you have to create three target tables. Okay, so t1 underscore 1, right? So this is our first target table to load all the department number 10 records, and we do not have any records in the target table for the first time. And then so same way you have to create another target table with the same columns, right? So this is second target table you have to create with the same columns and no data here also. Next, third target table also you have to create emv rtr underscore log. Okay, so such type of error records table we call it as a log table, right? So with the same column, just table name is different, emp rtr underscore log, and same columns, employee number, employee name, department number. Total 4 tables you have to create for this scenario. Okay, so see, scenario by scenario we are increasing the table count, right? So every day if you practice whatever the scenarios, next class will be easy to understand. You'll have limited scenarios to practice. If you are behind to practice, then you will have a lot of scenarios to practice and you will get confused. So that is the reason, please take time to practice. At least 2-3 hours you have to spend after this class. Okay, in your daytime or in your night time you have to spend, and you have to try to complete on same day. So every day I will be giving 4-5 scenarios to practice, because as I mentioned earlier, you are going to join as experienced, right? Not a fresher. So since you are going to join as experience, you have to do practically all these things. Okay, so if you do more practice, you will get more confidence, and the next class will be easy to understand. Okay, and also one more important point. So every day you should have to go through your running notes. I ask you to maintain the running notes. So okay, so you should not forget the last week whatever we discussed, right? So practice means not only today if I am giving 4 scenarios, okay, so today I have created 4 mappings, done. Okay, no, not like that. So again, you have to do the revision of whatever previous classes we have discussed. You no need to practice again previous classes. Just you have to do the revision and you have to remember the definitions and all till you get the job. Every day you have to go through your notes from the beginning, first day onwards, whatever we have discussed. So every day you have to go through before you join the class. So today's scenarios you practice today. Once this is completed, next step you have to do the revision from the beginning, whatever we have discussed. Otherwise you will forget whatever we discussed in the last class. If I ask now what is the star schema or what is snowflake schema, many of you are not able to answer. I know, because so you are practicing last I mean, like the same day scenarios, but you are not doing the revision, right? So please do the revision till you get the job. Every day you have to go through from the beginning, right? Okay, fine. So once these four tables are created for the scenario, one source and three target tables, okay, now we'll start creating the mapping. So to start create with the mapping, we have to import the source definition and then target definition. How many target definitions we have to import here?
3 targets.
Right. So since we have three target tables, we have to import three target definitions. Targets import from database. This is our first target definition. Next, go back, copy the second target table. Targets import from database, paste here, connect. This is our second target definition. So we have imported our second target definition. Next, third target definition. Go to the menu targets, import from database, connect. So this is our third target definition, which is log, to store all the error records. So like that, we have imported three target definitions, right? Next, create mapping. Mapping emp, okay, rtr s1 t1 load. So like that, we'll give some name, okay, and then router s1, and then rtr t1. This is first target definition. T2 is our second target definition, and then log is our third target definition. Okay, so like that you can arrange. This is second, and this is log target definition. Like this. Okay, so now we know we have to write multiple conditions. 10 is one condition, 20 is another condition. So for that, we have to create a router transformation. Go to the menu transformation, create from this list, select the router. So here you have the router transformation, right? So which is to write multiple conditions for TR, create that. Many of the interviews, they will ask this question. Okay, what is this question? They'll ask, tell me what is the difference between filter and router transformation. This is commonly asked interview question. What is the difference between filter and router? So you have to say filter transformation is for to write a single condition, whereas in router we can write multiple conditions. In filter, we do not have option to track the error records. If the condition doesn't satisfy, it will just leave that record as it is. Whereas in router transformation, we have a option to track the error records. If the condition doesn't satisfy, we have a group called default group inside the router transformation. So there it will send all the records. We can track those error records from the default group. So these two are the major differences between filter and router. Okay, so we have created the router transformation, right? So after creating the router, we have to select all the ports here from the source and drag and drop to the router transformation. Once we drag and drop like this, so you can see we have got input. So we call this as an input group. So inside the router, we will have the groups. So first input group got created. So we do not have output here right side arrows. The way how we have the arrows here, we do not have arrows here. So if we don't have the arrows, we cannot connect from these three ports. So we have got input group. Next, after drag and dropping the ports, we have to open the router transformation to write multiple conditions. We have to go to the groups tab. So we have the groups here, groups tab, and based on our number of conditions, we have to create those many number of groups here. If you have two conditions, you have to click on this button 2 times to add 2 groups. If you have 5 conditions, you have to click on this button 5 times to add 5 groups. Corresponding to each and every group, you have to write a condition. If you have 100 conditions to write, so you have to click on this button 100 times, so that 100 groups will be created, and there you can write the conditions. Now in our scenario, we have only 2 conditions. I'm going to click on this button 2 times, 1, 2. So I have clicked on this button 2 times, new group 1, new group 2 got created, and by default, Informatica has created the default group. So default group I have not created, automatically we have got the default group here, but we only created this new group 1 and new group 2. So we can rename this one. So I'm just giving the name as DNO10 and DNO20. These are not condition, this is just group name. We can give as we like. Right side you can see group filter condition. So here we have to write a condition DNO is equals to 10. So you can validate. Okay, and then I click on OK. And the second group you can write here DNO is equal to 20. So like that you can see in one router transformation we can write multiple conditions, and we no need to write any condition in default, we just have to leave that as it is. So we have written 2 conditions here, DNO10 and DNO20. Apply. Okay, that's it. Once you click on apply, okay, in router it will be created like this. Whatever the ports are there in input group, same ports will be copied to the DNO10 group, same ports will be copied to the DNO20 group, same ports are copied to the default group. Ports means same column names we have here. Okay, and DNO10 group, we have to select these 3 ports and connect it to the first target definition to load all the 10 into the first target. And from DNO20 group, we have to select these ports, connect it to the second target definition, and from default group we have to select all these ports connected to the log. This is how we have to create a mapping. With this we have done with the mapping. Go to the menu repository, save. Okay, so now we have created the mapping. Assume we have executed. As soon as we start execute, from the source table it will read the first record, reader will read the first record. First record we have 1 Ali 10. So 1 Ali 10 it will pass to the router transformation input group. Input group received 1 Ali 10. As soon as input group receives, it will pass the same values till here. Whatever the groups we have created, it will pass that record to below groups whatever we have created, but default we have not created, automatically it has created. So it will not send that record to the default group at the beginning. So first it will send the group, it will send the record to the groups what we have created. Okay, so DNO10 and DNO20. So now the same 1 Ali 10 we have a DNO10 group, same 1 Ali 20 we have in DNO20 group. In these 2 groups, which group condition will satisfy for the first record? Is it DNO10 or DNO20?
DNO10 group.
DNO10 group will satisfy. Okay. Right. So since we have connected DNO10 to the first target, it will send that record to the first target table. DNO20, it will not do anything for that record. Same way, after loading the first record into the first target, second record we have 20, it will pass to the router, again it will pass that 20 to DNO10 and DNO20. Right, now this time which group condition will satisfy? So for second record, which group condition will satisfy?
DNO20.
So DNO20, right? So DNO20 we have connected to the second target, right? So this we have connected to the second target, it will be loaded into the second target. Okay, next third record. So 3 Rajesh 30. So 3 Rajesh 30. So it will send to the router transformation, and so first it will send till here. Now in these 2 groups, any of the group condition will satisfy?
No.
Going to satisfy any of the condition?
No.
right? Okay, so it will not satisfy any of the group condition. So whatever the groups we have created and the conditions whatever we have written, if none of the group conditions satisfies, then only it will pass that record to the default group. Okay, so when the record comes to the default group, if the none of the group conditions satisfied, then only it will pass that record to the default group. Now DNO 30 record has come to the default group. Default group we have connected to the log table. It will send that record to the log table. Got it? Next. So this record, fourth record, we have DNO 10. So DNO 10 it will send to the router transformation. It will pass that record to the below groups DNO 10 and 20. Okay, so from here we have to connect to the target, right? So again DNO 10 group condition will satisfy, it will send that record to the target. And for the fifth record, so we have DNO 20. So DNO 20 record will send to the second this one target, because this group condition will satisfy. Next, how about the null value? Null value, where it will be loaded? Is it going to load DNO 10 or DNO 20?
Default.
Default, right? So it will send that record to the default group. So since none of the group conditions satisfied, it will send that record to the default, so that it will be loaded into the log target. That's it. See, so that's how router transformation works. Now we have seen how to create a router transformation, where to write the multiple conditions, and we know if the condition doesn't satisfy, what it is going to do, right? So if any of the group condition doesn't satisfy, it will send that record to the default group. From default we have connected to the log target, there it will be loaded. Done. Then workflows create. Router save, this we have done. Now start workflow, started execution. It is running now. That's so you can see 6 records it has read from the source, 2 records loaded into each target. Now here we will have first target table, all the department number 10 records will be there here, and the second target table will have all the department number 20, all the error records loaded into the log table 30 and null value. So you can see here error table we have, log table we have all the error records. That's how we can track the error records. If the condition doesn't satisfy, it will send it to the default. From default, it will be loaded into the log. That's it. You can use filter transformation. Any questions regarding filter and router? Again, in our future classes, once we start real-time scenarios, that time we'll be using this one. Still, we have not started the real-time scenario. Okay, so we are just trying to understand different transformation properties and the functionalities. Till now we discussed about the source qualifier properties, expression properties, filter properties, a router. So 4 transformations we have learned till now. Okay, any questions? Next, we'll move on to the next transformation. Another transformation we'll discuss, normalizer transformation. So it will take another 5-10 minutes max. Okay, so next we have normalizer transformation. Normalizer transformation is used to transpose the columns data into rows. Okay, so this transformation very rare we use in real time. Okay, but just for interview point of view, we should know what is normalizer. Okay, normalizer means transposing the columns data into rows. Here this is the source table and this is target table. So in the source you have address in 2 different columns, original address and current address, right? While loading into the target, so for each and every employee you have to insert two rows with original address 1 row and another row with the current address for the same employee. Same for employee number 2 also, with original address 1 row and the current address another row, right? This is called a row, right? Okay, so address we have in 2 columns in the source, whereas we have converted that columns data into rows. So for that we convert columns data into rows. We called it as normalization. For this, in Informatica, we have a transformation called normalizer transformation. So this is very rare we use. You should practice this. So let's start from emp underscore nrm underscore s1. So this is our source table. So you can see you create 4 columns and insert 2 rows. Original address and current address you have to give. So all these are the character varchar2 data type you have to give for these 4 columns. Okay, and then target table, you should have to create a target table with 3 columns only, right? So employee number, employee name, and address, right? With 3 columns, and do not insert any records. Now we'll start creating the mapping. We have to convert the columns data into rows. So in interview, they may ask, tell me what is normalizer transformation. You have to say normalizer transformation is for to convert the columns data into rows. Or they may ask how to convert the columns data into rows. You have to say normalizer transformation. Right click, clear all. Targets. Add the target information. Then mappings. Create m underscore emp underscore nrm s1 t1 load. Click on OK. So nrm s1. Okay, so nrm t1. So like that, we have to drag and drop the source and target definition. After that, we know here we have to transpose the columns data to rows. For each and every transformation, we have the definition, right? So you have to remember what is expression, what is filter, what is router, why we use router, why we use normalizer. Like that, you have to question yourself so that you will get the answer. Create from this list, we have to select the normalizer. Here we have normalizer. Normalizer transformation name starts with NRM, create, done. So after creating the normalizer transformation, generally we have to follow few steps, right? Okay, so here I have written those steps. Whenever you have normalizer transformation to create, we have to follow these steps. First step, create normalizer, we have created. Second step, create columns manually based on the target definition ports. Inside the normalizer transformation, generally till now whatever transformation we have created like filter, expression, router, so after creating we drag and drop the ports from the source. But here in normalizer we should not drag and drop. What we have to do is we have to add the columns manually based on the target definition ports. If the target definition contains 3 ports here, the same 3 we have to add here. If the target definition contains 5 columns, the same 5 we have to add here. If the target definition contains 100, the same 100 we have to add here. That is our second step. So since we have 3 here, I am going to add those 3 here. Go to the normalizer tab. So here we have to go to the normalizer tab and click on this button 3 times because we have 3 columns in the target. The same 3 columns we have to add here. Employee number, employee name, and then address. Okay, so data type we have to check. Okay, so employee number is a number data type. Employee name is a, you can select n string or a string. Okay, address also string you can set. That's it. So click on apply. Okay, this is our second step. See here, as soon as I click on OK, so I have added only 3 columns, but here we have got 6 out of 6. 3 are having input ports and 3 are having output ports, right? For those 3 input ports, 3 input ports, and 3 output ports got created. Next, so after second step we have to follow the third step that occurs in normalizer based on the source record repeat count in the target. So here each and every source record, how many times it is getting repeated in the target? 2 times. One with original address, the other one is current address. 2 times it is getting repeated. Okay, so if there are 2 records in your source, total you will have 4 records in your target. If you have 1 million records in your source, you will get 2 million records in the target. Means each and every source record is getting repeated 2 times, one with original address, the second one with current address. Right? Open the normalizer, go to the normalizer tab, and here we have to set the occurs. Currently it is 0. Since our source record is repeating 2 times, we have to set the occurs as 2, like this. 2 we have to set for each and every column. Okay, and then click on apply. Okay, that's our second step. Third step, we have set the occurs 2. Since we have set the occurs 2, for each and every input port, two input ports got created. Employee number 1, number 2, employee name 1, employee name 2, address 1, address 2, and we have got employee number, employee name, address, the same we have, but additionally we have got new columns created, so we can ignore this one, we are not going to use. So after setting the occurs, now we have to give the link from source qualifier to the normalizer, and then normalizer to the target definition, like this. Employee number to the number 1, employee number to the number 2, employee name to the name 1, employee name to the name 2. One to many link we have to give like this for the employee number and employee name, and from original address to the address 1 and current address to the address 2. So like that we have to give the links between source qualifier and the normalizer, and from normalizer we have to select these 3 and connect it to the target definition. That's it. With this we have done with the mapping. Repository, save. Okay, so assume we have created a mapping session, workflow, everything, and we have started execution. As soon as we start execution of this mapping, what it will do, from the source it will read the first record 1A HYD USA. So 1A HYD USA, here it will pass like this. Same employee number 1, employee number 2, right? 1 1 it will pass. We will get 1 1, same value. Next, for the employee name, what we have here, name 1, name 2. Okay, so here we'll get AA, same names. Next, original address is HYD, current address is USA. So we will get here values like this at normalizer transformation. So we have 2 set of values here at normalizer transformation. Employee number 1, number 2, name 1, name 2, address 1, address 2. Like that we have 2 set of values here. Out of these 2 set, first it will pass the first set of values to the below ports. First set of values, number 1, name 1, address 1. Number 1, name 1, address 1, we have 1A HYD. That it will pass to the below output ports. 1A HYD we will get. So 1A HYD it will pass to the target, and it will be inserted like this 1A HYD. After sending the first set, now it will release the second set, employee number 2, name 2, address 2. So employee number 2 1, name 2A, address to USA. So 1A USA we will get again here to the below output ports. Second record 1A USA, it is going to be loaded into the target. Okay, first record loaded successfully into the target. Next, second record 2B BLR UK. So here we will get the values like 22 BB BLR UK. So like that we will get 2 set of values. From the 2B BLR is the first set that it will load into the target, and the second set will be 2B UK that it will load into the target. So after successful of the execution, we'll get the values like this. Okay, let me create a session workflow and execute for this one. So this will just convert the columns data into rows. So in interview also, if they ask have you created a normalizer, you can say no. Very rare we create. So we have one mapping like a dynamic parameter file generator in future class. That time I will show you. So only in that mapping we will create this normalizer. Okay, so here NRM. Save, execute. Right, let's start work. Start execution is running. So from the source it will read 2 records, whereas in target it will load 4 records. So now in target table, we have 4 records. That's it. We have, this is how it has got it. That's how we have to use normalizer transformation. It will just convert the columns data into, for the same employee, two records will be created, one with original address, the other one is current address, like that. Okay, so that's all about this normalizer. You can practice this one also. So once you have done with these three, like today, first we started with the filter. In filter, we have 2 scenarios, and then router 1 scenario, normalizer 1. Total 4 scenarios are there to practice. After completion of these 4 scenarios, okay. So here I have one scenario to do homework. Transpose rows data into column, reverse way. You have to create the source table like this: employee number, employee name, address. The way how we have the target, so like that you have to create the source, and the target table is this. So the source here: employee number, employee name, original address, current address. So here transposing the rows data into columns. We have done with transposing the columns data into rows, but here rows into columns. So this is homework. So for this one, we no need to implement normalizer transformation. So we can use expression transformation. Okay. So if you have time, you can practice this one. Otherwise, I'll explain this later. Okay. So first you try to practice those 4. Once that is done, so if you have time you can check this one how we can implement, or you try to Google it how to transpose the rows data into columns in Informatica, and see whether you are able to find any logic from the Google and try to implement. Okay, if you are not getting anything, no problem. I'll explain about this later. Right, that's all for the day. We will stop here today and then we'll continue tomorrow. And tomorrow I will share you another link. This GoToMeeting link is going to expire today. So I will share you another link tomorrow to join the class. You check your email okay, before you joining tomorrow's class. And also this one daily class recordings, right? So I have already shared the link where every day I'm uploading. That link also I'm going to change. Okay, so I will send you today another new link, okay, to download the recordings. Okay, 2 emails I will be sending. One is the latest GoToMeeting link to join the next class, and the other one is training recordings link. I am going to change the folder, so that also I will be sharing. Okay, that's it. So that's all for the day. Thank you. You practice these 4 scenarios today: filter, router, and normalizer. That's it. Thanks.